Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darren Joines, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with my co-host, Tate Matthews. Tate, last show heading into fall break.
Time has flown.
It has.
That means we're winding down fall sports. Hey, I can start hearing, I said it last week, I can start hearing those basketballs dribbling a little bit.
I noticed,
But we got a lot of football, a lot of cross country, volleyball, soccer before then.
I noticed, too, that not only do you have your captain's hat and glasses, you brought out the corncob pipe, which we're not sharing, by the way.
No, only me.
Only you.
It's been in quarantine
Definitely.
since last season. But that could mean some real boat racing.
I think there's some opportunities. Got a feeling on the Pick'ems there's only one game that's in doubt
Yes.
on the Pick'ems. We'll get to that here in just a bit.
Separation Friday didn't end up being Separation Friday. Well, we got thrown, last Separation Friday, this one.
Well, 2 times ago, obviously, you did pretty well. So
Yes.
now we're just kind of holding serve here this last week. Hey, let's talk state golf tournament. That's this week. Ravenwood boys and girls, as we talked about last week, they're competing for the team state championship. Played at Willowbrook, Manchester, Tennessee. On the girls' side, again, this was something we mentioned last week, but want to give these folks a shout out again. These individuals, they qualified because their team didn't make it, but they were in the top 4. Sophia DePaulo of Franklin, Claudette Runk, Summit, Brooke Brummett, Brentwood, and on the boys' side, Troop Wallace. I've got a prediction for you, Tate. Assuming we don't have folks having to be out. Our first team state championship is coming this week.
Do you care to predict the gender?
Well, it could. I think either has a chance. Now, Station Camp, they're pretty loaded. They've got 2 young ladies that maybe not quite both of them being Shelly Yang's level, but as a combo, they're pretty tough. So we'll see. But I think we got a shot in both. But I think we're going to get
the boys
state titles, one or the other.
Man, would that be awesome or what?
It'd be great.
Hope you're right.
Hope I am too.
Mr. September, he's got them ready. Calm, cool, collected. It's kind of how you need to be in golf. Isn't that a saying that the team takes on the personality of their coach?
Yes.
Is that fair here?
Yes, I think it's definitely fair, for sure. It's funny how that does work with most teams. They do sort of take on that personality.
Yep.
Volleyball district getting cranked up. Nolensville's hosting down to the semifinals. I think that's going to be just a matter of how much, not if. They're going to win that district title for sure. No pressure, Coach Young and the Lady Knights. Ravenwood hosts the district tournament also for our larger classification. Brentwood coming in as the number 1 seed, playing without Coach Campbell. Obviously, prayers out to her.
Yep.
I know the team, they'll be motivated to get this thing done for her.
I think so. I think they're dangerous anyways, but with her being, not there, I think they will be extra motivated to make sure they win this one for her. I wouldn't want to be everybody else in that tournament.
Soccer, finishing up the regular seasons this week with tournaments getting underway next week. Now, I thought this was interesting. Brentwood still has to play Ravenwood this week. If Ravenwood wins, they finish second. Obviously, Franklin, we talked about, they won the regular season. If they lose, they'll be third. If Brentwood wins, they're second, but if they lose, they'll be fifth.
It's a big swing.
How would you like to be Franklin and you get the winner of the 4-5 game, which would be probably Brentwood,
Right.
and then you have to play them to stave off elimination? That's going to be pretty tough. So I'm going to guess that Coach Burgoyne is actually rooting for Brentwood.
Yes, 100%.
Because you'd rather play one of those teams in the finals. Although in soccer, I'd forgotten about this, in soccer, the number 1 seed advances.
The regular season?
They decided to do that.
Yep.
In soccer. I'd forgotten about that. So they're going to advance no matter what. So maybe not as big a deal, but I think baseball is another place where we do that.
Yes, we do.
The regular season. We talked about that in basketball. I was very much against it. I'm not saying it's bad that they've done that in these sports, but one thing about basketball I've always said it's so known for the tournament.
Right.
You don't really want to mess that up.
I agree.
So,
But I do like it in the baseball just because, I mean, I don't know.
well, pitching's so much a part of
Right.
it. And so you play that tournament in just a few days, and not
Right.
really the best team may not win. It comes down to the best staff, which maybe that is the best team. I don't know.
I was going to say basketball is a tournament sport, but I guess baseball is too. I don't know. I like the way I like not having it in basketball. I like having it in baseball.
Cross country, great time of year to run, by the way.
Yes.
With the weather getting a little bit cooler. Congratulations to the Independence boys and girls teams for their wins at the Lake Gunnersville Invitational in Alabama. And then also the Jesse Owens Classic again in Alabama, this time in Oakville. Caitlin Vanderkook lowered the school record to 17:45. On the boys' side, Franklin finished 5th, Brentwood 8th, Ravenwood 9th, Nolensville 18th. On the girls' side, Brentwood was the champion, Franklin 3rd, Ravenwood 7th, Nolensville 8th. So 4 of our teams on the girls' side in the top 10. And Nick Beatty for Nolensville, who's a senior, set the school record on the boys' side with a time of 15:53. You notice with Nolensville, I noticed this in golf, I've noticed they're climbing. And they're going to be ready for that jump to the larger classification whenever that happens.
100%. And it's coming, so they need to be. But yeah, you look at that, I think Brentwood girls, we got to feel that they're a strong favorite to win a state championship. This is the time of year where we start. I think there's going to be several fall state championships in the sports conference. Pretty exciting.
Let's talk about football. Week 7 recaps. Now, just craziness in terms of cancellations. Brentwood taking on Independence. That was a huge game because of some issues there at Independence High School. That game was rescheduled for October 23rd.
That did get done?
Rescheduled
Great.
for the 23rd. So now I believe it's Brentwood, Knoxville Catholic. That game's gone. And then for Ravenwood, I believe it was Pearl Cone. Or not Ravenwood, but Independence.
Yep.
That game's now gone.
It was.
Nolensville versus Tullahoma. That one got rescheduled for October 23rd, which means now the Admirals of Franklin are looking for a game. And then Page and Summit gets canceled. Summit could have played. Page really couldn't have because of numbers. So Summit gets the win, 1-0. Page gets a no. It's not really a no contest because a no contest means neither team plays. But they were out for health purposes, which means they get nothing.
They don't get penalized.
That's right.
They just don't have a win.
And Summit gets the win. So crazy happenings there with football. And it all happened late in the week.
Well, yeah. I mean, it happened to Summit Page on Thursday, didn't it? So, and then Tullahoma and Nolensville, and so then they tried to get Tullahoma, but Tullahoma had to react, and they got theirs, a day earlier, so they had already found a game, but that almost happened. Man, that would have been exciting.
That would have been a great game. Let's talk about the games that did happen. And this one sort of took center stage for a lot of different reasons, but the Battle of Franklin, it was the WCTV Game of the Week. Franklin comes out on top 41-20, so now looking pretty confident that they are going to be in the playoffs. Here's something else I thought about. I don't think we've talked about this. They're going to come in as the 4th seed, but I don't think Cane Ridge is going to get enough games in, so they may be taking on Smyrna.
Yeah.
So you would rather be 4 than 3,
Well,
right?
Smyrna beat Cane Ridge Friday night.
Don't you think when it,
Yeah, I think so.
with a few games under their belt,
Yes, I would think so. But I do think Smyrna's better than what we thought. So, yeah, I'm with you.
if you're Franklin, would you rather play Smyrna or Cane Ridge?
Smyrna.
Okay. We can,
So then that means 3rd place gets Cane Ridge.
yes. Which, who knows who that's going to be.
Right.
I mean, still, it could be Indy, Ravenwood, or Brentwood at this point.
I really do. I wish we could have seen that. We'd have a clearer picture if Indy and Brentwood had to play.
Well, and I'll tell you what's going on now, too. Fortunately for Brentwood and Independence, they were able to reschedule. But in terms of moving games, we're running out of daylight here.
Right.
When you're talking about Summit and Page, Summit, that's all they have left is region games. So there's nowhere to move a game, and that's going to be happening with our 6A teams now because of games being shuffled. There are no other dates pretty much at this point.
Might come down to
It could.
a 1-0 victory, the tiebreaker. But Yeah, that's tough. And we made it so far, and everything went so well, and now it's, we're really paying for it the past 2 weeks. But still, like I said, we got some great games to talk about. I think we're doing a great job of managing it. It just is what it is right now.
Well, and I keep going back to this. I understand, the frustration and people are out and they're quarantined, but they're not showing. I understand all of that. But I go back to this. You don't have to think back very far to think maybe we don't play at all.
Right.
So even though I understand the frustration, especially those teams that have a chance to really go deep and do well. Is that the phone ringing, Mr. Producer? Is that?
It's Handy Manny up there.
It's the 2020 version of Sports Connection.
That's right.
We're just going to roll with the punches.
I kind of like it.
Just to see if we're on our game.
Construction can't even hold us back.
No, can't even think about it. Hey, by the way, in that Franklin game, and it wasn't our play of the week. We'll get to that in just a second, but it could have been. 27-13, Franklin Centennial. Centennial had just stopped Franklin. I think it was something like 4th and 20.
4th and 23.
And Coach Webb, on his own, 25 or 30, they fake a punt. It works. 4 plays later, DJ Durham scores. DJ ended up with 2 touchdowns for the night. But that pretty much sealed it.
Yeah.
What a gutsy call at that time of the game.
Well, it was 4th and 23. That's the thing I'm glad you said. I don't think people really understand. It was pretty deep. It was in their territory. It was Pulaski Academy-esque, except they don't fake the punt. They just go for it. But it was 4th and 23, and they get 25 yards. Anyways, that's so out of character. I was like, wow. And talking to Coach Webb, they had come after a punt before it and got it, and they had it and liked the play, but didn't want to run the risk of getting a second one blocked. He called it. Then, from what I hear, it hadn't always gone well in practice, so there was a little nervousness about it. And then to get 25 yards, you just don't see that much. So, but you're right. They were already up by 2 scores, but that really changed the momentum and sealed it. And it was never really a game after that. But what a great call, what great execution, pretty exciting.
Our WCTV play of the week was from Mr. Grayson Bruce. Check it out.
2nd down and 10 now from the 12-yard line of Centennial.
Oh, that's a good counter right there.
Bruce inside, and this time, does Bruce fall over the goal line? He does indeed. So Grayson Bruce, touchdown, Franklin. From 12 yards away.
Yeah, I believe he was a young man that scored earlier, right, and got it taken away because of the block in the back. Good that he got it back. The senior on homecoming night gets a touchdown.
Well, great call by Kirk Herbstreit Jr. there, Mr. Brees, the color commentating. That was a counter. And, hey, pretty smart, big 74, Fisher Anderson, pulling and leading the way, and then, goes in and gets the touchdown. That was pretty neat. DJ Durham and Grayson Bruce, both with 2 rushing touchdowns apiece, and that big offensive line did their job. They opened holes, leaned on them, and you saw that right there. That was a great play, and there were a lot of them that looked just like that during the game.
Great nights receiving also for Carson Garner, 5 receptions, 114 yards. Carson Repass, 4 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Connor Bevan, a big night, 251 yards passing, a touchdown running and throwing. And he also had an offer this weekend. I think it was Birmingham Southern. So congratulations to Connor for getting that offer.
Yeah, congratulations, Connor. And not his biggest passing night, but a good one. 251 yards, 0 interceptions. And that's where he just keeps getting better at manage the game. Don't, make plays for us, but most importantly, don't get us beat. And he did a great job of that. And he's an athlete, that. And he just seems to be getting better and better. And it helps when, like we talked about, Durham and Bruce, when that running game's going, it's funny how those 2 things go hand in hand, right?
Centennial, big night for Josh Forsey. 19 carries, 93 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. Again, I know Coach Kreisky and the Cougars frustrated by losing that Battle of Franklin game, but I keep saying it, but it's true. Brighter days ahead.
Well, we talked over text over the weekend, and you're right. If they'll just stay, and they will, their line, they're so young, man, but they've got the pieces. just keep working, and there's success on the horizon for that football team.
A late ad, I know this is a game that garnered a lot of attention here in Middle Tennessee. The number 1 ranked Oakland Patriots coming to town to replace the game that Brentwood was missing with Independence. Brentwood coming in ranked 5 in the state. Now listen, I know I'm a WCS apologist sometimes on this, and I will still say it. The 2 leagues aren't close. You match their 1 with our 1, you know, obviously they're a little ahead right now. You go down the rest of the list, we're going to win most of those games. And I will say this too. With only a day and a half to get ready, Coach Crawford would never make excuses, but getting ready for Oakland and the wing T offense, that's not going to be easy in a day and a half, right?
No.
So that
Oh,
had
no.
to be a factor.
Well, 100%, and you're going up against the wing T offense, which you haven't been practicing for all year long. You haven't been practicing for during the week. And not only is it something different that you have to work on, you're going up against one of the guys who does it better. He's one of the best wing T guys in the state, Southeast, and they got great players. So no, it's hard to do. I think I've heard on the radio, I listened to it on the road, Will Bowling and them on the 104.5 The Zone app. Crawford said they really ran one defense all night long, and just wanted to go out and compete. So yeah, that's hard to do, even when you do have all week for them. But a day, it's not enough time. Just go out there and do the best you can with it. And again, a really, really good team.
This week's gym, by the way, Tate, the first time these teams have matched up since 2014, which surprised me because as good as they've been, both teams you would have thought maybe they would get lined up. Maybe, although in the playoffs, I guess it's set up a little bit differently.
Right.
They're going to match up with Maryville, but you would have thought just somewhere along the line they would have played. I was surprised it went that far back in that particular game. 49-7 Oakland in that one too. So the Patriots pretty tough.
Oh, they are, and then part of that goes back when Thomas McDaniel and Coach Crawford are related, and he was the head coach at Oakland, and they really didn't want to play each other. So that's part of it.
That's the real Jim, actually. That's pretty good.
Well, that's his
Yes,
son-in-law.
I did know that.
Which is funny because they coached together at Riverdale back before he was son-in-law, but they didn't really want to play each other. It's kind of like the Kreisky Bowl. Everybody enjoyed the Kreisky Bowl except for the Kreiskys. They couldn't wait to get rid of that game. But so that's a big part of it. But man, they're really, really good. And then it didn't start off well. The 3 offsides at the beginning of the game.
I've never even heard of that.
Well, neither have they. Neither is Crawford. Neither is Creasy. And so then it doesn't matter if you got the Sebastian Janikowski. Now they're going to get good field position to start off with. Just, golly, not a good way to start off the game.
And even in the second half, they're down 30-0. Brentwood, 3 straight times in the red zone.
Yeah.
And didn't score a point. So going to be hard to get back in that game. And, I like the attitude of, I think it was Luke Walton for Brentwood. Who
I thought he played hard.
Had 129 yards rushing, but he made the comment, we were just glad to play. And what a great attitude to have. And I would say that comes from the head coach.
Yeah.
Because I noticed Coach Crawford had said, we needed to try to play. We found a game, wanted to give the kids an opportunity to compete. We played a football game.
Yeah, and he didn't want a 1-0 victory. He said, we're gonna let it be decided on the field. I thought that was pretty funny too. His quote was, if we got to play the Green Bay Packers, we'll play them. I'm sitting there listening to that game going, dang, they might have gotten the Green Bay Packers. But, hey, what does everybody in 6A want to do? 6 AAA want to do? They want to win a state championship, right? More than likely, you're going to see Oakland or the team that beat them, Maryville, in the state championship. So now you got a good idea of what it's going to look like.
And I will say this too, if they had an opportunity to play again,
It'd be a different game.
no question it'd be different.
And again, no excuses. They're not full strength. Wilhelm, who I meant to mention him last week, Hayden Wilhelm. Man, I like that guy, dude. That guy plays with a motor. He's physical. They call his name every play. He is always around the ball. He didn't finish the game. I think it was more about that game, but they just weren't at full strength. It's no excuse. They were going to lose that game anyways that night. But those two teams aren't a 37-point difference.
Yeah, I agree. Aaron Walters, a good night, 10 receptions, 89 yards. And I thought I had to do a double take on this one. Cade Granzow threw his first interception. Is that real?
That's what they said.
That's impressive.
He's right, yeah.
6 games in, it's not like they're throwing it 4 times a game.
That's
So congratulations to Cade, continuing to have a great season there for Brentwood. In a game that was never a game, Fairview 35, Camden 8, Logan Nardozzi, Brody Cox with a couple of rushing TDs for Fairview, Riley Bennett with 2 touchdown passes, one to Morgan Jean and one to Bryce Fannin. Camden gets a meaningless touchdown late. And you feel like Fairview, the frustration of missing a couple of weeks, then having to play the 6A teams, look out. They're as motivated, Coach Hughes and Fairview, as any team around.
Yeah, oh yeah. And that game used to be a little bit of a game, not anymore. And everybody knows about Darndozy. He did his normal 11 carries, over 100 yards. Now, remember, I think we're so used to that, you lose track of. That is over 10 yards a carry.
Give it to him and it's a first down.
You get 4, that's over 10. I think we take that for granted sometimes. That's over 10 yards a carry. But Riley Bennett had a big night, and he keeps getting better. So, yeah, nobody likes to lose, but I think playing Lebanon, I think that benefited. I think that makes Fairview better.
Very similar in maybe a little bit different way, but Ravenwood, they have that 3-game losing streak, but they lose to Pulaski, they lose to Brentwood, they lose to IMG. They face Dixon County. I'm sure that seemed like a scrimmage in their freshman team after playing those 3 teams.
Goodness gracious, yeah, that was a sight for sore eyes.
So they come out and win 42-7, win in a big way. They were up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. Trevor Andrews, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing, 12 of 16, 191 yards, 35 yards rushing. Brenningstool, Brendan Dickinson, they continue to play well for Ravenwood receiving. And then also a name we don't always hear, Blake Irvin,
Yeah.
a couple receptions for 61 yards.
Yeah, and Jake played well on the defensive side too. He either had, I know he had 1, maybe 2 sacks. I think 2 sacks. Got in on a forced fumble or a fumble recovery. He's playing more. I don't know if it's because of injuries or what, but he's playing more and more on defense. He can be a really good defensive player too.
And he's not afraid to be physical.
Oh no! Well, just watch the way he blocks. I mean, yeah, he's physical for sure. And then of course, Junior Colson with the 8 tackles. So, yeah, good to get back on the winning streak. Mr. Andrews got back to doing what he was doing before that, and a lot of those 3 teams had a lot to do with that. But Ravenwood's ready for the playoffs. They're ready to make some noise in the playoffs, don't you think?
No doubt about it. And I thought Coach Daniels, it kind of starts at the top, what your attitude is. I felt like they were saying the right things. It was an honor to play IMG, and it wasn't woe is us, and I can't believe we're 3-3. You knew they weren't going to be finishing around 500. They're going to get on a roll. You just get that feeling. By the way, Justin Smitherman, want to mention him, 87 yards rushing, a couple of touchdowns, and then Isaac Rollins also with a touchdown rushing. Now, let's talk about this week's game state. Brentwood, 4-2, and still they've only played 1 region game. It's week 7, or week 8, I guess now, but they're playing their 7th game, and it's only region game number 2 at Dixon County. This is a game that was rescheduled from September 4th.
Right.
They'll be ready to go.
Yes. Not a whole lot to say on that one.
Fairview, Fairview, 2-0 in region play, heading to Sycamore, 0-6, 0-2. Again, a game that was rescheduled from September 18th. Sycamore coming off a loss to Harpeth, 28-18. Again, not much to say, but I got a feeling we need to put on some sunglasses and hats and get some pipes out. And
That'll be later, but yes.
speaking of a similar situation, Summit.
Should I just put it on the whole time?
6-1, 2-0 in the league, goes to Franklin County. They're 1-1 in the league. Although I would say this, Franklin County, this surprised me a little bit, that they beat Columbia 15-11. I'm like, was that a high-scoring baseball game? 15-11.
Who beat Nolensville?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one took me off guard.
That maybe people were out. I don't know, something seemed off.
Well, here, a little foreshadowing of picks to come. The other Wade is back.
You can run, but you can't hide.
That's right.
Franklin County.
Oh, now there's 2 of them. I got 2 guns, 1 for each of you.
Is that Tombstone?
Yes.
Yes. You should be flipping your. And really the best game of the week, and it's the last game of the week. Ravenwood, 4-3, 3-1 in league play, taking on CPA 4-0, and they have not played since September 18th.
That's
so,
right.
You know they're going to be a little bit rusty, but I think that's a quality game on Thursday night.
Well, I wanted to see the Brentwood one. I wanted to see Brentwood CPA. Didn't happen, and then this one, it's going to be weird. I don't know that they've had. They're not going to have a whole lot of practice with their linemen, but yeah, it's going to be a fun game. Really was the only game last year that I thought CPA had no chance of winning against Ravenwood, and they didn't win. But yeah, this one's exciting. It's a little weird, but it's going to be fun, and I believe it's on a Thursday night, so y'all can get out of town. The Ravenwood people can get out of town for fall break, but that's great. We get to watch that one and then go watch one on Friday night. But definitely the game of the week in the conference.
Centennial Page has been canceled. Page not able to play. Franklin, Independence, Nolensville all have byes, and really, in all three cases, weren't really trying to pick up games. They're going to give it a chance to maybe get healthy, so to speak.
And I agree with that. I think Centennial is trying to find a game for next week, though, right?
Right.
Okay. So hopefully that'll happen for the Centennial faith.
All right, Pick'ems last week. Dr. Qualls, myself, and you, we all went 4-0. The fans went 3-1. They picked Brentwood to beat Oakland. So now Qualls has 25 wins. The fans have 27 wins. I have 29 wins, and you have 30. So it's getting tight, and there could be. We'll see if we've got a difference here in just a second. Fans, keep voting on Twitter, WCSCO Athletics, and again, continue to vote for the games that maybe your favorite team's not participating in. All right, I think we need to group the first three games. I think we can just group them. Brentwood at Dixon, Fairview at Sycamore, Summit at Franklin County.
Brentwood, boat race. Summit, 40-foot Donzie. Fairview Sycamore, I'm busting the pipe out more now. That one's so bad, I'm riding down to Harpeth smoking my pipe.
Popeye the Sailor Man, I agree with you on all three, but I'm going to make you pick first on this next one.
Got it.
Ravenwood versus CPA. What say you, Mr. Matthews?
Well, I know you think what I'm going to do, but I'm not because I don't believe it. Thursday, I'm going with the Raptors. Matty D.
Obviously, I'm going with Ravenwood
That's right.
also.
So there's not a whole, but I do not think it's a boat race. So I'll take this off.
So for a couple, it's just a cool.
No, it's just Maverick.
Is it just a cool night to play? I'm also going with Ravenwood. So
Maybe a good night for a book. We've derailed.
I think we'll both be 4-0 this week.
4-0, not a lot of separation. My guess is Qualls will be 4-0. The fans will be 4-0. So you and I are one game apart.
It's going down the wire. Last year, it was kind of like this, and then you had a week late where you really just kind of separated and flexed your muscles, so to speak. Ate a little spinach.
I'm kind of like Franklin was when you were in the tournament. We were a tournament team, man. Come tournament time, we're ready. You got Glover ready. He's on point. Hainsworth's in there banging on the boards. A lot like the Rebels. Admirals.
Well,
you were the Rebels back then.
That's right.
Admirals.
Tate, always good to be with you.
So go to a Thursday game, go to a Friday game.
That's right. There's an opportunity to do both. I'm going to check out some state golf. Can't wait to talk about that next week, and then may even get a little district volleyball in. We'll have lots to talk about next week.
Yep. Can't wait. Have a great weekend.
Good to see you, Tate. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Sports Connection.